Hi.
Hi,
Hi.
welcome.
Hello.
It's Don't Worry Wednesday. How's it going, guys? You guys look good in the
Yeah,
chat.
that's right.
The chat looks weird. It looks different
Mm-hmm.
than normal. I don't know what's
Yeah.
going on. It looked weird last week too, I guess.
Yeah,
Um,
what is that, guys? You put on new clothing finally? Or what?
yeah, it doesn't look
Huh.
like it used to. Like I don't know what
Yeah.
happened. We might have to enlist the help of our IT person and be like, "Hey, man, like, what do we gotta do here, man?"
Yeah. Well, I'm confused when I look at it and I go, I mean, I just haven't given it the time of day to try to fix it, to be honest.
Yeah,
But it would take some learning and someone else already learned it once. So it'd be
right,
better for them.
right.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Ash, I look different. Yes, I do. I have facial hair. I got really lazy and I just decided to not shave anymore.
Oh,
Um
ever.
maybe never. We're going to find out.
All right. Fine by me. I mean, you could do whatever, man.
I can do
You
whatever.
say you do shave.
Hmm?
You do shave. I can see it.
I do? I mean I
Mm-hmm.
shave around it
No, you shave
and
up here too.
I still keep my hair,
Yeah.
I don't like shave it. I don't bick it anymore.
Bic?
Yeah, like razor blade it.
Oh, because all I think of when you say bic is Bic lighters.
Oh yeah, I don't light my hair on fire and burn it off anymore.
That's good. I'm glad. I'm glad for you that
That's
you don't.
always what I used to do, man. I just,
Yeah.
it's the
That's the
easiest.
way to do it,
Yeah.
honestly.
Yep.
It takes care
I
of
mean,
itself.
it's a little uncomfortable at first.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. It gets a little, I mean, it looks like you're wearing a hat sometimes
Right.
because it gets so red and burned. Sometimes black. But yeah, it's great.
Yeah, it's awesome. So welcome everybody. Welcome to Don't Worry Wednesday. It's a show that's about you guys in the chat, you guys and your topics, stuff going on in your lives. We love to hear from you. You can go to if you scroll up in the chat, you can find our a link to our website, don'tworrywednesday.com. You can go there, submit a topic. We would love to hear from you. And yeah, if you have something you'd like us to talk about, the best place to do is go there and
Mm-hmm.
then click submit a topic and fill out the form, and we will be happy to talk about it. We are
Yeah.
not professional counselors. We're not professional therapists. We're not attorneys or police officers or judges or football players or, whatever. But we do love you guys, and we want to help in any way we possibly can. We'll speak from our heart and try our best to help in any way we possibly can. Ash, I honestly forgot how long it's been too. It's been a
Yeah.
while, but it's great to see you. Rising Dawn Studios. It's great to see you. Are you? Is this a person that goes by a different name sometimes? I feel like this is the first time I've seen Rising Dawn Studios in the chat.
Um, yeah, I
Or
think
maybe
so. Maybe they used to go by a different name, but
Ellie.
I don't know.
Okay, Ellie.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
There you go. Yes.
Welcome. It's great to see you.
They're on my YouTube or on my Discord,
Yes.
I believe, anyways.
Yes, in the Discord server.
Mm-hmm.
Right
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
Right on. Yeah. So you guys can join the Static P Friends Discord server, or you can join the PP, which is the pleb place. That's my server. It's not nearly as big and gargantuan and cool as the Static P Friends server.
And it's cool. It's not maybe not as big and gargantuan, but it's cool.
We got some cool people there, I'll tell you what.
That's right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, sweet. So this is us. You guys look great. How
Yeah.
you doing? How you doing, Ryan?
Doing fantastic. Thank you. Great day. Having a good time. Having a good day. How are you, man?
Nice. I'm good. I'm tired. It's been it's been a long few days. We're setting up. We started a new business, a cabinet and woodworking business, and we're getting everything all set up in there, and it's just a crazy huge amount of work. It's so we've just been over there, um, you know,
Mm-hmm.
burning the
Yeah.
candles at both ends. Yes, rip the old BSS forum. I know, man. Man, how many of you guys remember the old BSS.studio?
Me, I'm raising my hand.
I do. I do too. I remember
Okay, so yeah,
that.
that's good.
Yep. We had good people there too. It was great.
Yeah.
Zay remembers
Wow, that's awesome.
BSS.studio, big forums. We talked about all kinds of stuff. I got to know a lot of you guys on that forum too. It was
Mm-hmm.
cool.
Yeah.
You miss it. Yeah. I miss it too. BSS.studio, where I used to post photos and Don't Worry Wednesday topics. Is it still around? I know it's not.
I think it is by, like, you can't actually arrive at any forums, but you can go to it.
Right. I mean, the website is still there. It's under construction. We're kind of retooling it to be to be kind of a place to get a hold of us in order to do production work with us and all that kind of stuff, and kind of share what BSS is doing. But yeah, the forum, I can't remember if the forum might still all be there somewhere on our server, buried under, miles and
Oh
miles
yeah.
of code somewhere.
Yeah, miles and miles of revisions.
Yep, yep. We've
Yeah.
been retooling it for over a year. Yeah, that's true. We have been. You're right.
By over a year, you mean multiple years.
Yeah, exactly. It's been over a year though, for sure.
That's yes, yes. Over a year and then a couple more years.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep. Lots happened. We've been through a lot of different changes and a lot of different stuff, and
Mm-hmm.
we're severely understaffed, and yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
it's been at least a year since it got taken down. Yep, you're
Oh.
you're you're absolutely right.
Mm-hmm.
Joe grew hair
It's
out
grew
my
hair, yeah.
face.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Boom.
Yeah, yeah. So anyway, yeah, it's great to be back. I missed you guys last week. I had my kids. Um, I was having them every other week over the summer, which was
Mm-hmm.
great, and we had a great
Yeah,
time. But now the summer's
that's
winding
awesome.
down, and it's kind of sad that I won't get to spend every other week with them. But I'll get to be here every week now. So
Yeah,
I guess,
that's true.
yeah. So that's cool.
Now you can talk to your other kids.
I don't think these are my kids.
Oh, come on. Okay,
Some of
maybe
them
they're
are
not.
getting to be almost as old as me now.
That's true. That's true. Some of them are.
Mm-hmm. You claim me as your dad.
Yeah,
Oh,
there you go.
thanks, Ash. I will
Yeah.
claim you as my child.
Yes.
Probably
Careful.
not legally, though.
Yeah, I was about to say don't do that legally because you might end up in trouble. Yeah. Because he's like spiritually. Yeah,
to
you're
do it
spiritual.
to do it legally is a lot of paperwork and a lot of headaches and a lot of crazy and a lot of, oh my gosh.
You would,
Most
I think, if you did that, then, well, like if you adopt someone who's like 17 and then they turn 18 and it's like, what was the point of that?
mm-hmm.
But I suppose legally you are counted as family, even though um, it was only for 1 year.
Mm-hmm. It is metaphorical.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and you're
You're
18.
already 18 now.
So,
Okay, so
hey, so that's all right, cool. Perfect. How does it work? You know what?
you
It's
can
interesting.
adopt someone who's an adult.
You
Yes.
can, absolutely. One of my really good friends and co-host of my other podcast, Rebels for Hope, Katie
Mm.
Rose, she and her husband adopted an adult.
Mm.
And it was, they didn't realize that they could do that until they looked into it, and they found out they could, and then
Yep.
they did. So then I've got Now they've got a son and a daughter-in-law and a granddaughter,
Hmm.
which is kind of cool. People at work
Amazing.
adopt you all the time. You know what? That's awesome. That must mean you're a really, really good person.
Yeah.
Um, can an adult adopt an older adult as their child? Ooh, that's a good question. We're not legal professionals here.
Yeah. I know you can adopt someone. It doesn't necessarily mean you title them as child, because there's forms of adoption that don't label what they are to you, whether it being a child or father or whatever. It's just kind of like now you're like a united family, but not necessarily granted, like, oh, you're my grandpa now.
Mm.
It's just like nameless. There's no name associated with it. But I'm not sure how all of that works.
Yeah, me
Not at all.
neither.
Yeah, I've never done it.
Yeah, me neither. Well, awesome. What do you say we jump into a topic?
That's a great idea.
We
I
got
like
some.
it.
We got some topics. Um, so did you guys handle any of these last week?
Oh, I forgot to mark which ones we did last week, I think. Um, okay, I'm gonna press answered on the ones that we did last week. Just give me
I
one
hate
second.
learning. Did you do that one last
Yeah,
week?
we did. Yeah. So I put the date answered down, but I didn't press the check mark for
Oh, you
answered.
didn't. You didn't put the check mark in the check box. Check
Yeah.
in the box.
Um, and what was the other one? That might be it. Yeah, go ahead and refresh.
Oh, okie dokie. I will.
Um,
I will refresh. It has been refreshed.
there we go. Yeah.
All
Okay.
right.
Yep.
Cool.
That was the only one that I didn't mark. Hello,
Cool.
love.
Cool. Hello. Yes. So there in the chat, Saule just put in the chat a link to our website. If you'd like to send us a topic, you can put it in the chat. We'd love to have it in the chat, or you can go to our website, don'tworrywednesday.com,
Mm-hmm.
and submit the topic there. We'd be happy to handle whatever you send us. And we talk about just about anything on here.
Yeah, we're pretty good at that.
Mm-hmm. We
Mm-hmm.
cover some controversial stuff sometimes.
Yeah, that's true. And sometimes we say
Mm-hmm.
controversial things,
We do. We do.
but
We're
but
like
it's
we're gonna be
but it's in the most
controversial.
loving. Yeah, it's in the most loving manner. So it's hard to get upset at us, no matter how wrong we are.
That's right. No matter how wrong you think we are.
Uh-huh. That's right.
Or the rest of the world might say that we're wrong, but we know we're right.
And that's all that matters, right?
That's exactly right. Yeah. I mean,
Mm,
Ryan here is not perfect, but he's not any less than perfect.
that's right.
So,
Just like Haley, we're pretty good there.
oh, you guys did that too? Is
Mm-hmm.
Haley
Yep.
no less than perfect?
Haley isn't perfect, but she's at least not any less than perfect. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, Ash,
We're trying our
you
best.
you hate bees. And yeah, that's controversial.
Yeah, that is controversial because people are like, we need more bees and save the bees and
Mm-hmm.
all that kind of stuff. So yeah, that is controversial. You're allowed to not like bees.
I don't like bee stings.
Mm-hmm.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
Um, but all right. Well, we do have one here from Saule, and Saule is here. We have a few from Mianglios, but Mianglios wants to be here when we cover them. So we'll see if they decide to come tonight. Ash, you're deathly afraid of bees. One just flew into your car while trying to clean it and had a mini panic attack. Yeah, I understand that. It's all
Yeah, I
you
respect
know.
that.
Mm-hmm. When they get close to you, it's almost like
Yeah, no, yeah. Everything in your body tells you to freak the heck out
yeah,
when it becomes. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard
yeah,
not to.
it is. But a lot of times that makes it slightly worse.
Oh yeah, yeah,
But it's
yeah.
like a knee-jerk reaction.
But
It
your
just
whole
kind of
body, like you
happens,
feel
right? You
your
can't.
like when it comes by your ear, you feel your ear muscles tense up, and you're like, I didn't even know I had those muscles. But
My ear muscles.
yeah, I think my ear just closed itself somehow. It's just like bees. Yeah, seriously though. Ugh. You know what you can do, Ash, if your bee goes into the car, hop into the car with it and drive like a couple of feet and then park your car. What's going to happen is the bee is going to only stay in the back of the car until it's dead.
Mm.
Bees have a really weird sense of direction. And if you get a bee in your car and you start moving in the car, it will fly the direction that's opposite of where you're going. So it will go to the back of the car and sit there and buzz around trying to get out the back window and never succeed.
Hmm.
And it will do that basically forever.
So does that mean if you drive in reverse?
Yeah, you'll put the bee bite next to your face. Not a,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't want a bee in your car either. I don't want a
Oh,
bee in your
yeah.
car. I don't want you to have a bee in your car.
Okay, roll down the windows and drive sideways. I don't know how you do that other than like get a,
Figure
like
figure
do a
that
donut.
out. What?
Yeah, do a donut.
Your
What
camera
if you?
like tracked
Yeah,
you.
it totally tracked me.
So
That
that's
was pretty good. That was impressive. I wasn't
like,
expecting
did
that.
you get a new camera?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I was. Oh, whoa!
Nice. Yeah, I can't drive sideways either.
I'm
That's
just
okay.
starting to drive. I can't drive sideways.
You know, Rising
Yeah,
Dawn,
drifting.
I would
Yeah.
love to learn how to drift in a car.
Mm.
That looks like fun.
When I was 16 and 17, I used to go down towards my house back in Grayling, and it wasn't me in the car, but I would be in other people's cars. And there was this dirt road that was really straight that went back to my house, and they would drift on it all the time.
Mm.
So I got to enjoy that. One time they brought a keyboard so I could shred on the keyboard while they were drifting down the like road in their car. It was amazing and
That's
nuts
sick.
and stupid. But it was great. We had a great time.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Hey, Baka,
Mhm.
welcome. It's good to see you. Um, yeah, I would love to have a
Oh,
steering
congrats,
wheel that
Ash.
was a controller instead of a steering wheel. I think that'd be great.
Oh, that sounds dangerous, but yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I can
Um,
barely drift in Mario Kart. Drifting in Mario Kart's hard.
I think I knew that you got a job, Ash. I think you might have put it in my server. I don't know if you put it on the I don't know if you mentioned it in Don't Worry Wednesday or not, but yeah, I can remember that you got a job.
Mm.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Working is work. Get
Mm-hmm.
some money, get you something to do, get you out of the house. You can feel a sense of accomplishment. You can get to have
Mm.
interpersonal conflicts with people. It's great.
Or interpersonal relationships with people. They don't have to be complex.
That's true. That's true. You can do that too.
Mm-hmm.
Been about 5 or 6 months now. Yeah. See, maybe that's
Mm-hmm.
why you haven't been here. Is because you've been working. You've been working your butt
Yeah.
off.
Hey, Baka, that's so great. I'm glad to hear that because I know that you were really stressed about that. So,
Mm-hmm.
congratulations. What kind of job did you get, Baka? If you don't mind sharing, obviously you don't have to. Did you get it in landscaping though? That's I guess part of my wonder because I know that's what you wanted to get into.
Mm. Landscaping. I've worked
Yeah.
landscaping before. One time I worked landscaping and it was basically just lawn mowing.
Yeah. That's not too bad.
Yeah,
Um,
it's fine, but I'm allergic to grass clippings.
yeah, my brother became allergic to grass because he was lawn mowing so much.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Or
Can
you're a
happen.
delivery
Delivered
driver.
her. Not what I wanted, but it's a job. Yep, that's
Very
work.
true.
It's good.
Yeah, sometimes you got to do something you don't want in order to
Mm-hmm.
move towards something you do want.
Mm-hmm.
I always encourage people. A lot of times people graduate from college and they won't immediately get a job in the field that they you know, that they studied in. That happens all the time. It happens quite frequently, right? But so a lot of times people will just wait and they'll be like, "Oh, I'm just going to keep applying for stuff until I get a job in this field." But it's like the longer you wait to start working, the lower your chances get that you're going to get a job even in your field, right? Because at least if you're working, if you're doing something, then that shows any prospective employer that you are a worker and that you're
Mm-hmm.
willing to do something, and that makes you a lot more attractive, and it also builds your resume and all that kind of stuff, right? So um yeah, it's pretty crazy. Plus, I mean,
Wow.
there's something about working that just makes us feel better.
Sure.
You know, it boosts
Yeah,
our
absolutely.
self-esteem. It does all kinds of stuff. Now, you can have coworkers that lower your self-esteem. I've had that happen before too.
Yeah.
But working is, it's like we're built to be productive, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And when we're not, it's a lot easier to sink into depression, a lot easier to sink into, lots of anxiety, all that kind of stuff. But if we're keeping ourselves busy, if we're working, if we're, being productive, then it does a lot for our self-esteem, does a lot for our peace of mind and our mental health.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah, that's
oh,
awesome too, Baka.
yeah, you're moving
Yeah.
forward on your own apartment.
In driving, being a delivery driver, it's not so bad because you get a lot of time in your car.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully, don't a delivery driver doesn't put as much miles on their car as jobs, but you will put miles in your car. Nice thing about it is you spend time in your car, which means you can kind of like listen to talks, or you could listen to a Don't Worry Wednesday while you drive. You can listen to music and learn how to sing while you drive. You can think about your projects that you're working on while you drive, because it can be pretty mindless. It can become pretty mindless, at least, depending on what you're doing and distances you drive. But
Mm-hmm.
um, one thing that I enjoyed doing when I was driving a lot is prayer. I would be able to commit like 2 hours a day to prayer, which was amazing. I would, although since I am no longer working a shop where I'm driving around, I've not been able to do that. But um, yeah, just a small suggestion there. I mean, that was really cool to be able to do that. So
Mm-hmm.
nothing wrong with not just saying there's nothing wrong with it, but there's upsides to it. There's upsides to being a driver
Mm-hmm.
of any sort.
Yeah, you bet. You'll get to be a really good driver that way.
Mm.
You get lots of
Well, at least hope so.
XP as a driver, for
Yeah,
sure. Um,
that's right.
yeah. Now, I don't know if are you driving your own vehicle, or are you driving, like, do you go someplace and then want to use one of their vehicles? If you're using your vehicle and tracking mileage and all that kind of stuff, I can highly recommend. There's an app called Mile IQ, that I've been
Mm.
using for years and years and years and years to track my mileage. Because, man, when you're a driver of any kind, and you're doing delivery, you're doing whatever, your mileage write-offs can be huge at tax
Mm-hmm.
time, and that can save you a lot when it comes to tax time. So, but that's if you're in a position where you are tracking your miles on your vehicle. Um, some delivery drivers, depending on who you work for, a lot of times they'll provide a vehicle. Like, I mean, you see the Amazon delivery people; they always drive the Amazon um, vans or
Yeah.
whatever. Although I've seen it starting where people are able to use their own cars to do that now too, and just use it as like a side gig.
Yeah.
Which, that's kind of cool. Ash, I'm glad that 90% of your coworkers are cool and nice. That makes
Yeah.
for a lot better environment when you got good people that work around you. Um, oh, you get a mileage reimbursement. Okay.
Nice.
And you need to pass an inspection.
Ah.
Ah, boy, it should be fine. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Nothing wrong with using one of their cars if they're giving you one. I mean, honestly, it saves you in the long run. It's going to save you way more.
It
I would say
saves
don't
you.
even bother
Yeah,
about passing the inspection. Just use their car.
yeah, yeah, yeah. If you, I,
Mhm.
probably if I had the if I would have had the opportunity to use somebody, else's vehicle, I would have taken it.
Yeah.
Just because wear and tear on the car, all that kind of stuff.
Hmm.
You know, I mean, there's all kinds of stuff. Um, so like, Ash is using the cool coworkers as air conditioning. I don't know. I guess it depends. If you have coworkers that are full of hot air, I don't know. I work with some guys that they'd probably say that I'm full of hot air.
That's okay. I like hot air. I mean, that's what I like. I like that hot. I mean, especially if it's winter.
Yeah, yeah, it's very helpful in the
Hmm.
wintertime for
Yeah.
sure. Um,
Hmm.
today
Roadworthy. Yeah. Food safe. Okay.
today's your day off, and that's sad.
Uh, maybe. Oh, because they really like their coworkers. Because their
Maybe.
coworkers are awesome.
Yeah, Ash, do you really enjoy your job? If you're sad that you have a day off, that says you probably have a really cool job. Can we scientifically prove if I'm full of hot air or not? No, it's all a matter of perspective.
Yeah, because what is hot? What determines what hot is? What measure is hot called hot? That's, I mean, the first problem.
You can't use your coworkers for air conditioning. Ah, because it's your day off. I get it now. All right.
Oh, I see. So you have to suffer in the heat. Got it. Got it.
That's right. Hot air does make hot air balloons fly. I
Hmm.
could just like breathe on a hot air balloon and make it fly.
If you can do that, then your breath is really hot. It's like a
Man.
flame.
Yeah, man.
Wow.
Some hot breath.
Wow. Hot breath. Don't worry about my breath.
Don't worry about my breath. I can sing.
Hmm. You want to do a topic?
Yeah, let's do one. All right, we got one. We got one here from Saule.
X-Men.
This is called Patience. If I can get it open, that'd be great.
Patience.
Yeah, patience, Daniel-san. I don't know why I said that. Um, 68 degrees Fahrenheit is room temperature. Anything above that is hot. I agree. Ryan would probably not agree.
No, I think 80 is comfortable. So 72 is like when I was growing up, 72 was room temperature. And then even that just feels a little cold to my skin now. I don't like it. So like 70, anywhere between 74 and 85 is comfortable. Like beyond that, it does actually get hot for me.
Ryan looks sad.
Yeah, Ryan looks sad, but 80 is hot. He's hot is comfortable to you. Yes, that's right. I'm comfortable in the hot, in the heat. I think I would agree most people consider 80 to be hot. Hard to breathe. That's respectable. Um, I get it. Just
Yes.
open up a window, let the breeze come through.
Your room is around 89. Wow,
Dang,
that would be hot. Oh my gosh, that
that's
would
warm.
be. Oh, wow.
I like it.
It's
I
like a
like that.
sauna. And
That's
I was
so
working.
much more. 89 is so much more comfortable than 68. I will say that. Depends on what you're doing though.
It
Like if
does.
you're an 89F and you're like working
Mm-hmm.
hard at something physical, yeah,
That's
no.
hot.
Yeah, but if you're in 68 and you're working hard, that's going to be a little bit more comfortable.
Mm-hmm. In fact,
Yeah.
that almost is hot when you're working hard. I set the thermostat in the shop today to 68, and I was still
Hmm.
like sweating while I was working.
Yeah.
You know,
Mm.
you had 5 fans and sitting in bed, right on.
Wow.
5 of them. I like your room, except I wouldn't like the 89 degrees, but I do like that you have 5 fans. It moves
Hmm.
lots of air around.
Yeah. Yeah, August says hand me a jacket for 68, but it's better than 16 or than 89. Fair enough.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's hard to cool down.
Yeah.
But see, here my issue is I have a neuro, neuro some weird kind of neuroconnective issue where cold is pain. So for me, I would rather be uncomfortably hot than the sensation of experiencing pain from cold. Because like people say, oh, you can always warm up, and it's like, yeah, you can, but that's not always true. That's not true. No, you can't always warm up. Let's be
You're right.
honest.
You're right. Sometimes you
You
just
can't
get
always warm up.
chilled. Sometimes you just get
Yeah.
you ever been like totally chilled to the bone and you're just like it
Mm,
takes so long to get warmed up,
yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I remember in the middle of like winter, we'd go skiing, and then like I put my hand by the heater of the car and just put my hand on it, and it's like scorching my hand, and I can feel the pain from the heat. It's so hot,
Mm.
but my hand's still not getting any warmer. You know? It's like, yeah, it's not working. Hmm.
Oh, you have the same
Hand me a
thing and
jacket for 70,
you
yeah.
can't physically cool down. Oh, I'm sorry.
Mm,
That's rough.
yeah,
That's rough. If I were
yeah.
if I were you, I would probably be drinking so much cold water, as much cold
Yeah, I was
water
just
as I
about to say,
possibly could, just to try to
just
cool
open up
off.
turn your faucet on, run your hands and wrists under it and stuff, and then you'll cool down pretty good.
Yeah, and you have 5 fans.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just turn the cold tap on every once in a while and wet yourself. I know it's kind of annoying, but at least you won't be suffering.
Yeah, I mean you
You'll
can
just be uncomfortably wet.
get like a washcloth and get it wet with cold water, and then like put it on you and have all
Yeah.
those 5 fans blowing at
Oh
you.
man, you would be so cold if you did that.
Hmm.
Ice cold water. Yeah, okay. I don't drink ice cold water because it hurts. So,
Turn your cold tap on and wet yourself.
mhm.
That's
That's right. That's what I said.
Yeah,
That's what I said.
that's what you said.
Oh my gosh, the camera just followed me again.
Oh, I just wet
That's what I
myself.
said. Yeah.
Usually that's warm though.
People, yeah, you can be like, excuse me, I'm gonna go wet myself. People just look at you like, excuse me, what did you say? What words? Excuse me?
Oh man. Yeah. Hear it
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
that's
like,
great.
oh, I'm getting hot. Be right back. I'm gonna go wet myself. That's such a good phrase.
I love it.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Like,
now we're gonna jump into a topic. We said how
yeah.
many times we've said it like 3 times, 4 now,
Yeah.
or something.
Patience, Saule. Patience is what this
Patience,
one's called.
patience from Soule. Yes. Um. Yes. All right. And I will put it up on the screen so you guys can read it along, or read along. Put that in the quotes channel.
Yeah. So I was thinking immediately.
Yes. Turn your
Hey,
cold tap
Darkwing.
on and wet yourself. Hey, how's it going, man? Or I just call everybody man. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Welcome, welcome. Yeah, but we're gonna get it now. And I'm getting a phone call from somebody I don't know. They can call me back later.
Yeah.
All right, right on. Cool. Well, here is the topic. I'm gonna put it up. This is called Patience. This is from Saule, and here it is. I'm gonna read it, and you can read it too. I feel that I used to be far more patient than I am now. Do you have any suggestions for ways to train patience? From Saule. And it looks like the snaz doesn't want to work. But maybe it's because I didn't put it up on there. We'll try it now. Maybe it'll work now. There it is. All right, cool. Yes, and Saule has put in the chat, go ahead and go to don'tworrywednesday.com if you have a topic you want us to discuss. But this one is patience. And again, to read it again, I feel that I used to be far more patient than I am now. Do you have any suggestions for ways to train patience? How to be more patient. Oh my gosh, that can be a real challenge. And like we pray for different things in our lives. One of the things I've learned to never ever pray for is patience.
Because
Because
you all tried.
yep, because there's really the way to train yourself to be more patient is to be forced into having to wait longer for stuff. It's unfortunate, but that's kind of how it works, like you just get put into more situations where you have to exhibit patience, that virtue. It is a virtue. But what you can do, I think one of the best things that I've learned to do when I'm trying to be more patient is sometimes I have to just like take a deep breath and just try and calm myself a little bit, because you can do that. You can do some deep breathing. You just remind, hey, you know what? It's okay. It's not the end of the world. We're gonna get through. We're gonna get past. It's gonna happen eventually, and you at that point you can kind of start to let go of whatever it is. Because the thing about when we're impatient, a lot of times it's because we're holding on to something tightly. We're holding on to an idea that we want something, or we want something to happen, or whatever. And when we can learn to loosen our grip on those things that we want, it can help us a lot to just relax. Be like, you know what? It'll happen in its own time. It'll come in its own time. It'll be okay. And you can kind of live moment to moment. And then a lot of times I'll find something else to do to kind of take my mind off it. So then I'll, go do something to keep myself busy, whether it's play music or get to work on something, or even play a video game or watch a movie or something, but just something that diverts my attention from the thing that I'm being impatient about, if that makes sense. But those are some of the quick things that I've done in order to try and learn this virtue of patience. Another thing is you can spend some time meditating. There's a lot of different things that you can do to help you get through the time, to get past that feeling of impatiently wanting something. But yeah. Ash says, I got so scared. Some random person just randomly walked to my front door, knocked, and started looking around. I don't know who he was. Oh my gosh. That's freaky. But Saule, it's not easy. But this goes right along with learning how to discipline our desires, and understand that our desires aren't necessarily always, sometimes when we want something so bad, we get ourselves all caught up in it, and that's not always healthy for us. So we need to learn sometimes to let go. And that act of learning to let go can develop the virtue of patience. So I'm going to turn this over to Ryan, and I'm going to see what he has to say. So, Ryan?
Yeah, I'll
Take
give
it
it
away,
my
my
best.
friend. I'm sure you will.
Yeah, no, this is a really good topic, and of course, you're not alone. This is a
Mhm.
virtue that everybody needs, and it's nothing that we can attain entirely, because all of the virtues kind of go up infinitely. You can practice them forever and get better and better, and there is no end to the goodness of a virtue. There's no end to its capacity for greatness. So this is a topic for all of us, even if it's not something that some of us maybe feel we have an issue with. It is something that we can all be strengthened in, and even if it's not something that you experience very often, um, it's kind of fun. Me and my wife have been talking about the virtues a lot, and even more so the vices. Like it's guess the seven deadly sins. We've been talking about them a lot recently. So this was a topic that I've been talking about recently. Well, yeah, sure. And we've discovered some really interesting things. So, on our study of the seven deadly sins and then their virtues, um, the the deadly sin that is the one that opposes patience, you could say, is wrath. All right. So when you're not patient, you become wrathful, right? Um, and what is wrath? I mean, it can be described in a lot of different ways, but I think what's interesting about wrath is that it is the seven deadly sin. It is the one sin that how do you say, it amplifies all the other of these sins. So what do I mean by that? So okay, pride is the gateway sin, right? So when we become prideful, that's generally the root of all sin is pride. Now they say money is the root of all sin, but that's a misquote. It's money is the root of many evils. Money is not the root of all evils. But anyways, so yeah, exactly. As Nyanse said, wrath is an over focus on what you dislike. When you really, wrath is being a slave to your dislikes. That's what wrath is.
I like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't like it, but
yeah. You like the definition, yeah. Right? We spent a lot of time. We spent hours talking about them. Days, actually, literally days talking about them. Yeah, and wrath is being a slave to your dislikes. So what that means is your dislikes control you. What is patience? Patience is the opposite of that in a way. It's not letting your dislikes control you, right? I mean, it's more than that. But as a starter, that's what patience is. So if you're focusing on what you dislike, it will ultimately make you a slave to that. I mean, we see it all the time, and if we focus on something too much, we become attached to it and we become thinking about it more and more and more. Like the more we focus on a specific thing, the more we notice it in the world and the more we think about it. And so if you find yourself spending any time thinking about the things you dislike, mulling over them, etc., then whenever you find yourself doing that, say to yourself, you know, I'm not a slave to this. I'm not going to let this control my thoughts. I'm not going to be sitting here and mulling over these negative dislikes. And I'm going to get my butt in gear and just not care about what I dislike. Because being patient is kind of like being satisfied with where you are, when you are, who you are, what you are. Just being satisfied. So if you can learn to be satisfied in the moment when everything's going, quote, wrong, right? Giving that up, having sort of a humble spirit, just recognizing like, I can't control everything, you know, that humility, recognizing like, I can't control these things. And things are not going the way I like them. Be satisfied in that. Be fine with that. Be okay with that. And that's what patience is. It's like, well, how do you do that? Well, I just wanted to give a little bit more on something profound here, and that is, of the seven deadly sins, pride is like the gateway one, right? It's the one that is the root. It's kind of, if you have pride, generally all the other sins are also a matter of pride. All the seven deadly sins are also an issue with pride. So it's the gateway one. And humility is the gateway virtue. Okay. It's the virtue that will teach you like that you need the other ones. It's the virtue that helps you gain the other ones because you consider yourself capable of growing, but also not perfect yet. And it's the one that kind of consists of self-recognition in a good and holy and healthy way, rather than pride, which is self-recognition in a way that is ultimately self-destructive, but puts yourself above goodness, puts yourself above other things, and it leads to problems. So, but the interesting thing about wrath is it's the amplifier of all the sins. So, if you have pride issues, and then you have wrath issues, it's going to come out really intense, right? Wrath, a lot of people consider wrath like anger, but so, and it is, but it isn't. If you have wrath, basically what it does is it makes very apparent what other sins you have, what other vices you have, because your wrath will show it really intense, because it's the amplifier. It makes everything worse, and until you solve your wrath problem, you can't solve the other one generally. So that's why, you can, but not very well. So that's why patience is also the amplifier of virtues. So if you have patience, it will amplify your humility. If you have patience, it will amplify your generosity. It will amplify your, what's the word?
Temperance.
Yeah, temperance. I'm just trying to think compassion. There you go. Patience will amplify your compassion for others.
Yes.
It will amplify your mercy. Now, mercy is the opposition to wrath as well. Patience and mercy go together in opposition to wrath, but patience will amplify every other virtue. So I like that you ask about patience. And I think it's a really good one. And it's the amplifier of all virtues. So I think it's worth having. It's probably, other than humility, probably the most important one to focus on, at least from what I can see, in my humble approach to things, knowing that I'm probably not right, because I'm not well studied in this, but we've been talking about it a lot for the last couple of days. So here's how you gain patience. You said you used to be more patient, but how do you train it to get back to where you were, at least, if not better? And to some degree, it's doing this. On this channel, we've said embrace the awkward. We've also said embrace boredom. All right. Embrace the dislike. Just let it be. Right? And so when you're experiencing something you dislike, maybe some things are worth disliking, some things are not. But either way, you need patience, because when you're struggling with patience, it's something is going not the way I want it to go, right? Which, when you look at children, they just cry. Like, that's the number one reason why children cry, outside of like, I'm hungry or something. But it's like, oh no, that wasn't what I wanted, and then they cry and they throw a hissy fit and they fall on the floor and then they whatever, right? So that's
that
like
literally
patience is huge. So as Nyanse said, less focus on your dislikes. So how do you do that? When you notice yourself focusing on something you dislike, as Joe was saying earlier, that's why he just goes away from it for a while. Because what it does is it stops your brain from obsessing over something you dislike. So if you walk away from it, that's helpful. I think potentially more helpful-ish is telling yourself that it depends. It might not always be more helpful, but in some cases, telling yourself, I don't have to have it my way for me to be happy. I don't have to have it my way for me to be happy. I am fully capable of being satisfied with however this turns out. Whether it takes my food 20 minutes to arrive or 20 hours, I can be perfectly happy either way. There's no reason to get all up in a fuss. That's only going to make things worse. So, and I mean, you know this, that's why you're here asking, because you've experienced that sensation of wrath, and that's not a nice feeling, especially when you're a virtuous person as yourself. So yeah, I would say when you're experiencing something you dislike, remember to think to yourself, I can be happy whether this is going my way or not. And that's an important thing to remember because it's you who gets to decide how your behavior is, and it's you who gets to decide to some degree your emotions. Maybe not to full degree, but to some degree, you do have some say over how you feel.
Mm-hmm.
And if you let yourself know that, if you give yourself the subtle reminder, the gentle reminder, like, hey, you can be happy when things aren't going your way. Don't be a crybaby. It's okay. Loosen up. Find ways to be thankful for what you're currently going through. So you can say, I'm thankful that this is a chance for me to get better at patience. That's number one. You can also say, I'm grateful that this isn't going my way because there are many times in my life where I wanted something, things were completely different than what I wanted. And because of it, miracles happened. Like literal miracles happened because things didn't go my way. If everything went my way, well, one, I'd be a tyrannical, controlling person. That's not virtuous. But if everything went my way, I wouldn't have learned this. I wouldn't have learned that. I wouldn't be as virtuous of a person. I wouldn't have ever needed to learn the virtues. I wouldn't be as good and kind and etc. So you can take a moment to realize when things don't go your way, that doesn't mean it's going bad for you. Even if they feel bad. Even if you look at it and you're like, oh, all logic says that this is bad. The thing is, we don't know. And many times, I can say this as well, and you know this, Salale, all things are made good for those who love God.
Mm.
And so if you want, you can use that phrase. That's a huge phrase and a helpful phrase for patience and humility, but probably mostly patience.
Mm.
So when you're going through something that tests your patience, remind yourself of that. All things are made good. All bad is made good, right? For those who love God. And the reason behind that is because if you have to love God or else you don't think that the things that are good are good.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why that's why that is a requirement. But yeah, obviously there's a lot in the chat too. People have very helpful things. And I would suggest reading that. But with that said, I'm going to give it back over to Joe and see what he's got to add on to that.
You are.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can add on to that. That was beautiful. There is some stuff
You're
in the chat.
beautiful.
Ash, have a great night. It was great to see
Oh,
you.
yeah.
Great to hear from you.
Yeah, thank you for being here.
Don't be a stranger. My metaphorical child.
Cute. Yeah.
But yes, yeah, if you don't have to work, we'd love to have you. Even if you do have to work, you can show up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
But
Dark, will you make a list
if
of
you're
the things?
working, probably best to focus on work, but
Mm-hmm.
during the time of the stream. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, there is a lot of good stuff in the chat.
Yeah, I just want to actually, what Nyansai said, if you focus on the negatives, you will start getting very good at finding negative things. And generally, that's what's happening when you're impatient. At first, something frustrates you because it's not going your way.
Mm-hmm.
And then it builds up and you notice it again. And then you notice it again, and you notice it again, notice it again. And then immediately, or sorry, not immediately, but eventually you find yourself so frustrated. But if you had been ignorant completely that it was ever frustrating at all, you would have completed the task without any complaints and perfectly happy.
Mm-hmm.
So really, it's just a matter of perspective. If you start noticing negative things, your brain will continue to find patterns of negative things in everything surrounding you, making your patience worse and worse and worse. And
Mm-hmm.
all of that is just wrath.
Mm-hmm.
That is what wrath is and what it does. And so, yeah, you
Well,
don't be a slave to it.
yeah, and it can lead you to despair.
Mm-hmm.
Because the more you focus on the negatives, the more you focus on
Oh, yeah.
like all that kind of stuff, you can start to feel pretty doggone hopeless. because
Oh yeah.
everything's bad. Everything around you is bad, and I don't like anything that's going on around me. And yep, and it can lead to sloth. Exactly, Beyonce.
Hmm.
And then you just give up because you're just like, well, I'm hopeless, and all that kind of stuff. And it can. You're right. I love how Ryan put it, is that it is like an amplifier for a lot of the other deadly vices that are out there. I do like what Ellie
Hmm.
Ellie said.
Yeah.
Rising Dawn Studios said, it's one of the fruits of the spirit. If you go the biblical route, it's fruit of the spirit, and you are already equipped with it.
Yeah.
You already are. You do have patience.
Yep.
It's true. You just maybe you're not focused on it enough, and they said it needs to be exercised like a muscle, and that's
Yeah.
true.
That was well said.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that's how you build it. Like, how do you build a muscle? Well, you train it. And I know this is the question. Any suggestions on ways to train patience? Like how to train patience into my life? And one of those things is learn to deny yourself.
Hmm.
Learn to discipline yourself. It puts you, see, here's the thing. It puts you in charge of it.
Hmm.
I love what Ryan talks about sometimes. Ryan will talk about some of the ways that he fasts, and one of the ways is that he'll make a sandwich. He'll eat half of the sandwich, and then he'll set the sandwich down and say, I'm not going to eat that for another hour or a half hour or whatever, right? And then and that is a little bit of discipline that just it starts to develop a habit of being disciplined, of learning to deny himself, of learning to say no to himself. And that little thing trains patience. Any discipline that we have will train patience. I got a new book that I'm going through right now called Atomic Habits. I forget the name of the author. But it talks about habits and how powerful they are and all this kind of stuff, right? And really, these are habitual things. If we find that we're struggling with impatience, then somewhere along the line we've started to develop a habit of gratifying ourselves immediately or being gratified immediately. Now, and it's in this world that we live in, everything's so instant and fast and all this kind of stuff. I love this one in the chat. The food will come eventually. It's like after a while, I'm just gonna go grab some Bosco sticks and some bacon out of the freezer. I'm gonna like cook it, because it's like I'm not waiting for the food anymore. I'm just gonna go take matters into my own hands and make something. I don't know why I said Bosco sticks. I think it's because of your shirt, Ryan.
I love baskets. Yeah.
I know, me too.
Bosco.
Yeah, dream like Bosco.
That's right.
um, but yeah. So, but the better we get at just denying ourselves, Saule, discipline. That is something I can absolutely try to use. Yep. If you can learn to discipline yourself, even in little things, just little things, those start to train habits of being more patient. Like, how is discipline and well, it's all discipline. Any time we're going to build a virtue, it requires discipline. So if we can discipline ourselves to, just whether it's going and doing some exercise, even like some people are like, oh, I got to make this big, huge, sweeping change. I got to change my life. Well, the way we do that is incrementally in small steps. If we take on too big of a chunk, then more than likely we're going to fail because we haven't set up ourselves to live the new lifestyle that we're trying to change ourselves into. Does that make sense? A lot of these things, it has to be some kind of a gradual change. We have to make the change so we can then start to identify with that new lifestyle. And so over time, if we start to incrementally move toward impatience toward getting the things we want or need right when we think about it, or right when we win it. We go to the drive-through, and man, oh man, it took 5 minutes in the drive-through line. Oh my gosh. Can't believe it. They're so slow. Like, you know, sometimes you just gotta let go. You're like, okay, it's gonna be here. Dial up. Yes, it helps with self-control. Wow, Nance, I fasted on not watching any videos, including YouTube, for a month and cried a few times about it. It was a while ago, but good to prove yourself you can do it. Helps with self-control, absolutely. You can't eat an elephant in one bite, says Rising Dawn Studios. It takes several little bites to achieve your goal. Absolutely. Yeah, it changes your whole thing, right? Your entire paradigm. Absolutely true. Sometimes things, when we look at something big like this, we think about developing patience, and it seems like a daunting task. If something seems like a daunting task to us, I'll tell you the key is to cut it up into small bits.
Mm-hmm.
Cut it up into manageable chunks. You know, I talked about we started a cabinet company. And
Can I just say something?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just on that note, sometimes something feels daunting. For me, what helps the most is just get started.
Yeah.
Unlike any part of it, just get started. And then soon enough, I'm no longer thinking, oh, this is too daunting to do. I'm just focused on, all right, I'm doing this thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because daunting just is like when the boulder stops rolling. But if I can just start moving, keep it moving, daunting doesn't stop me. So for me, you don't even have to break it up into small bits, though that is super helpful. And I do that. You're going to do that anyways when you start working. But
Mm-hmm.
if you just start going for it, it won't feel so bad.
Mm-hmm.
That's huge, at least for me.
You're
But anyways,
absolutely right.
as you were about starting up the cabinet business.
Yeah. Well, we have we got a paint booth for it, right? Because when you make cabinets, you got to be able to paint them. And when you have a location in a city, which is where we're kind of on the outskirts of a city, we're in kind of a mixed industrial / residential area, and so we needed to have this way of being able to paint and then have it all get sucked out, go through all these different filters and all this kind of stuff to get then so the air, we're not breathing the paint fumes as we're doing it. It's getting sucked out, but then it also has to get filtered and all that kind of stuff to go out into the air. It has to all be approved and whatnot. So we ended up getting a paint booth to put in our shop, and the booth is bigger than the room that Ryan's in right now. Just the booth. It's an automotive. It's for cars. So it's 20 feet long by 15 feet wide by 12 feet tall. It's huge. And it's made of metal, like all this galvanized sheet metal, big, huge pieces of metal for the walls, and all these light fixtures that fit into it and all this kind of stuff. We bought it used because we got a heck of a deal on it, and it had been sitting out in this guy's field in pieces for 2 years.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. So, and it had been used for probably 15 years before that, so it's got all this buildup of paint and all kind of stuff on the walls. And so we have this task of taking all these walls and ceiling panels that are all over the place, and we got to clean them. So then we can repaint them. And it's like there's 50 panels that are huge, and they're all covered in garbage. Not garbage. They're covered in paint, that's old and covered in rust and covered in all that kind of. And it's so this is a daunting task. We got to get this cleaned up and built. And so it's like, man, so today I'm just in there and I'm like, oh my gosh, we're setting out all these pieces of stuff. And it's like filling up our area. And just like, what in the heck? We got a pretty big room that we're putting this in. But, then it's like, all right, I just grab a grinder with a wire wheel on it and I just start on one piece and just start, like grinding away on it, getting all the old paint and rust and all that kind of stuff off. And it's just little by little. But like Ryan exactly said, he's like, I no longer think about the task as a whole. I just focus on what I'm doing. This one little spot. It's like, okay, I'm going to get this spot. I'm going to get this one piece done. I'm going to just do this one little bit. And then we're focused on that. We're focused on doing the best job we can on that one little piece. And what that does is it keeps you busy, it keeps you focused, and you don't even think then about the size of the task anymore. So it can be really, really, intimidating to look at a virtue like patience and be like, I got to develop this. I got to get better at this. And it can just seem enormous. But if we can give you some steps, and I think if you go back and listen to what Ryan said, he's explained a lot of this stuff on how you can think about this and how, like having that view of what patience is can help you start to make right decisions in your day-to-day living and start to develop the habit of patience. And I would say start small. Start with little things and little disciplines. We all want stuff immediately. I remember, like if you start exercising, for instance, people are like, I got to get myself in shape. And so like it comes around to May and they're like, I want my beach body or whatever, and they're like, because summer's coming. And it's like, you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot because you kind of started too late at that point. You only have about a month. And really to have a significant, change in how your body looks, it's going to take 6 to 8 months to see significant results. Now you'll see results along the way and it'll get better and better and improve, but you're not going to have a major transformation in a month. It's going to take a few, right? And so what do? Well, you start by just developing the habit of disciplining yourself to go exercise, to go work out, to go lift some weights, to go do some calisthenics, to do whatever it is, right? Whatever the program is that, gets you where you want to go, you start going there. You start changing the things that you're eating to more fit this lifestyle. And it becomes a complete change in your lifestyle. When you develop this habit of patience in your life, what you're going to find is the way you live, your day-to-day life, is going to be different than what it is now. And you don't just kind of like automatically get there. But it's going to be those tiny little changes. And it's like, all right, how can I change these things? And understand, anything that's worthwhile takes time. Anything that's worthwhile takes time. It takes time and it takes effort. And it takes usually concentrated effort over time. And it takes developing that habit. But before you get disheartened by thinking, oh my gosh, this is still too big of a deal, just think about the next thing you can do. What's next? I don't know. Maybe you're like me and you hit the snooze button in the morning when your alarm goes off. You got to get up and go to work, and it's like, okay, I will set my alarm like 4 different alarms, so then I can hit 3 of them snooze.
And hope you remember how many you hit so far.
Right.
Nice.
15? We have 15. Yes, Rising Dawn. So when you feel yourself start to struggle, remember it's just a small period of time and that it's a learning opportunity. It absolutely is. You guys are great in the chat.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, let's see. My grandpa told me once there are always life disappointments, even in the things you like, but in the end, you get something positive. That's true. We always have those disappointments, and like Neonsai had said in the chat, and like Ryan was talking about, if you focus on the things you dislike, the more and more and more you go down the path of impatience, of wrath, of all that, like that gobbledygook, the place you don't want to be. I think Darkwing said in the chat earlier, listing out things that they do like. Listing out things that you're thankful for. Remember, Saule, you used to come to the Double Cup of Joe show, and we used to have our three-step process every day. We did that live stream, and it was, what you start off with, what am I thankful for? And then the next step is, what are you looking forward to? And then step number 3 is, what am I going to do today to move forward? And that 3-step process can change your life, absolutely, because it just sets your mind in the right area. And so if you can start focusing less on the things you dislike and more on the things that you do like and that you're thankful for, it can bring a level of calm. It can bring a level of joy. It can bring a level of, now you're in a much more solid position to be patient. Because no matter what's going on around you, no matter what things are happening that you don't like, you are already oriented towards the things that you're thankful for and the things that you're looking forward to. And when you're looking forward to something, you're understanding, look, this isn't something that's happening right now. This is something that I'm working towards. This is something that I'm looking forward to in the future. It's not going to happen immediately, but it's something that I can look toward and work toward. And so step 3, I'm going to wait to start moving forward, or something like that.
Sounds like a quote.
Wait. Adding to what Joe say, you can blurt, I'm thankful for the grass, or any random thing you see to help start the change of that mindset. Absolutely. Oh, Darkwing, that's awesome. Your therapist starts therapy sessions by asking 2 things that you loved that week. I think that's great, because that sets your mind in a more forward-moving, joyous direction. Rising Dawn, I feel like you're a kindred spirit of mine. I find myself, being thankful for those little silly, simple things, like,
Joe usually says the toilet.
I'm thankful that there was a roll of toilet paper in the cupboard when the other one ran out.
Yeah, that's for sure. That's a pretty good one.
Oh, man. That's great. But yeah, it's something you can do, though, Saule. You totally can. And I think you can. Showers and washing machines. Yep. You're probably thankful for, like, a stove and oven.
Definitely.
I'm thankful for you guys having an oven so I can have brownies from you.
Ooh, yeah.
Brownies. They're super good.
That's right.
Guys, Neonsai makes killer brownies. They're like dense.
They're so good. Dense and gooey.
Dense and gooey. Oh, they're so fantastic. They're not even the medicinal kinds.
Oh no, it doesn't need to be.
Doesn't need to be.
They will cure whatever ails you, at least momentarily, while you eat them, because you won't be able to think of anything else. You'll be just enjoying yourself.
Yes. Oh, you made cookies yesterday? Wait, August is waiting for the brownie delivery.
Uh-huh. I make cookies. That's great. What kind of cookies, Darkwing? What kind of cookies?
I'm curious too. Rising
Stupid
Dawn,
Fred. Okay,
wait,
yeah.
you have the best pasta Alfredo recipe. Is there such a
Heaven
thing
sent.
as good pasta Alfredo?
There are many different kinds, so I will say
Yeah,
that's
normally I don't like Alfredo. But if you're claiming that there's an Alfredo recipe that's heaven sent,
mm.
I might have to figure out a way to try that.
Nice. Yes, I have the best. That's great.
Chocolate chunk cookies. Yeah.
Nice. That's great. That sounds
Mhm.
good. Yeah.
Yep. So anyway, Ryan, did you have anything else on this topic?
I think there were two things.
Okay.
One was on the part of um, basically practicing abstinence, um, self self control. Um, you know, that isn't necessarily patience in the sense that it combats wrath, but that doesn't really matter because there's patience wrapped up within self control, anyways.
Mm.
So if you want to practice self control and fasting, Nyansai said this, and I just kind of want to back this up. If you're going to fast from something for, like, let's say a month, make sure you set a day aside once or twice a week that you do the thing that you're putting aside.
Mm.
And the reason is because it will make you remember that you want it.
Mm.
For the rest of the week, you'll be like, I can't wait till this day. I could do it right now. I could cheat, but I'm going to wait for that day. I can't wait. And you're excited about it for the whole week until it comes, and then you get your to do your thing, that whatever it is. Let's say, if it's food related, it might be drink related, like coffee or pop, sorry, soda, whatever. It might be sleeping with the blankets on. I don't know. It could be anything. Whatever it is, you do it that day, and it might be like, man, can't wait for next week. I don't want this to run out. I don't want this day to end, and you're staying up till like literally 12 a.m. just to run it out, as long as possible. And then the whole rest of the week you don't touch it, right? And that is, in my experience, much better fasting, because if you don't do the thing at all for like a month, by the second week, it's gone to you and you don't even care anymore. If you're like, I'm not
That's
eating
true.
chocolates for a month, by the second week, maybe it's third week for some people, you're like, I don't even want chocolates. I never crave chocolates anymore. I don't even know why I picked that. Like, apparently I don't like chocolates as much as I thought I did. And it's like, no, that's pretty much what happens to everybody, generally speaking. If you put something off for 2 or 3 weeks, you suddenly go, I don't really care to have that. I'm not tempted by it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And that's great. I'm not tempted by that good. I don't really want it. That's what you're going to be thinking. So that's why it's important to try to keep it up. Um, do the thing that you're fasting from, like once a week, maybe twice a week, or maybe once every 2 weeks, however you want to do it, but make sure that it's still in your regiment, because otherwise your fasting experience will not be maximized, so to speak. I mean, you can do it the other way, but again, it just won't be practicing self-control as much. But that's if you want to do something like that. And then the other thing was, I don't know if I can remember it. It was definitely about patience, but let me reread. You said train patience. Training patience it's an everyday thing. It's how you live your life. And the more you celebrate the good, the easier it's going to be. And my final statement on this is basically, be humble, in the sense that be happy you're where you're at. Just be content you are where you are. If you're frustrated about something not happening, whether it's to deal with time, usually it's time for patience, but patience isn't just directly related to time. It generally builds up over time, right? I dislike this, and then that compounds over time, and that's why it tends to be a time-oriented thing. But patience is really, or sorry, wrath, you know, having a lack of patience or having wrath is, it can happen in a moment. It doesn't have to be time related. With that in mind, recognize that whatever it is you're waiting for, this good you're striving for, this frustration, like, glory and revel in that. Because, like, it's like, here I am getting fed up that this isn't happening for me, when I should recognize I'm so blessed to even be here wanting this in the first place. I'm so blessed to have the time to even wait around for this in the first place. I'm so blessed to, it's like if it's something that's running late and you're like, oh no, I don't know, let's just use a common example. The person I'm supposed to be driving with is running late, and so we can't leave the house until they're done doing whatever, and we're already late, and what are they doing? And you start to freak out because you have lack of patience. Now, in that moment, you should be like, whatever happens, happens. And it's going to be good, first of all. Don't just think that it's going to be bad because, like, that's what you're assuming it's bad. You're like, yeah, it's bad to be not on time. But whatever happens, happens. You don't have control over that. You should work hard at preserving your kindness towards this other person that you're waiting for. That's more important than getting to the place on time. Because that's a relationship, and relationships are more important than most activities. And then maybe it's like, well, we're trying to meet with a person and that's a relationship thing and they're going to get sassy. You know what? That's fine. And maybe it's time for them to practice their patience too. Maybe it can be a blessing to them. But don't just assume it's bad. And then also, you should be thankful that you have a place to go in the first place. That you have a thing to do that is good. Maybe you won't make it on time, but you're going to a thing that you've already considered you're going. Like, you've already decided, I'm going to this place. Why did you plan that out? Because there's a good associated with it. So be thankful and happy and satisfied that you're doing something good in the first place. And recognize that, rather than recognizing, I'm going to be late, and fixating on that. Because I'm going to be late makes you rush and not pay attention to the people around you and act poorly to them and act literally wrathfully to them, even though it's not their fault. Or maybe it is their fault, but you act with wrath towards them. Like, literally. So instead, act with mercy towards them. Act with patience, right? Act with this sense of kindness. That's how you combat. That's how you're going to combat it. So when you're experiencing this lack of patience, for whatever it is, maybe there's people involved or maybe there's not. But if there's people involved, you have a perfect time to practice your patience, to get better, to train your patience. And that's reminding yourself, like, literally these people are more important than my wrath. Literally these people are more important than this thing that, like, I'm trying to do. Literally my own goodness about me and who I am is more important than this activity. Like, it is. Who you are matters, and how you act out into the world is way more important than being late for something. Because that's who you are, and that's your holiness. Like, or your evilness. That is important. And obviously you aren't defined by your actions entirely, and you're not defined by your experiences entirely, but how you're acting out into the world is important. And so recognize, like, so if I have an outburst right now, that would be the opposite of what's going to be helpful at this moment, right? So, like, when you recognize that, you go, okay, now let's do a mental adjustment. Let's stop worrying about the things I dislike. Let's be satisfied Just recognize, like, hey, in humility, God, thank you for giving me this life. Thank you for letting me be here. Thank you for having things that I can do in the world, like this event that I'm trying to make it to on time. These people around me, thank you so much. Like, be merciful to them. It's like, thank you so much for these people around me. Yeah, sometimes they make me late, but oh my, like, I'm so thankful that they're in my life. There's so many good qualities that they bring me, including maybe patience if you give them a chance. God places the people in your life that you need to help you become the best version of yourself for you. And sometimes that looks like pain and frustration and wrath and impatience and trial and etc. But they're all there to make you a saint. And so be thankful for them and recognize where you are at this moment is beautiful. Where you are, just be happy and satisfied. Don't get so haughty that your wants are more important. Your dislikes are more important than anything else going on. Because when you have wrath, basically you're saying my dislikes are more important than everything else going on right now and the people I'm around. And what I think and what I want is more important than all of that. It's like, have some humility and just be like, you know what? My way or my way or not, like, I can be happy. And I acknowledge that. And so I'm just going to be that. You have no power over me, my dislikes. I'm not going to be a slave to my dislikes. I'm just going to be content and happy that it's like, yeah, I don't mind waiting here, even if we never get to that concert. It's like, it's fine. And not like, it's fine, like the whole place is on fire, it's fine. No, literally, just like, if we don't make it to the concert on time, what is that to me? My holiness perseveres. You're not going to win, Satan, if you will, right? So that's my suggestion. And I know I tried my best, Saturday, to lay it out in a way that you can practice and you can see it. So when it happens, you can see it and take action immediately. But I know I didn't say it in the most calm and like thankful way possible, but I think it's pretty when you can say the words to yourself, like, just be at peace and be content. Don't let my dislikes rule me. When you can say these things to yourself, like, I'm satisfied. I'm satisfied. I don't need that. I'm satisfied. It's like, I want this want. I have this want. It's like, okay, yeah, no, I'm satisfied. I don't need it. If it comes, that's great. If it doesn't come, that's great. I'm satisfied. I don't need it. If you can say these things to yourself, patience will come. Now, there are sometimes, some places where, like, anger is important. There are certain things that you need to act out into the world, and there are times where you might not want to say those words to yourself because they're not helpful. But in this case, if it's patience, if it drives you towards the virtue of patience, then that's a great time to invoke that. Just, yeah. And lastly, I guess you can invoke the Holy Spirit. Always does wonders for me. Holy Spirit is my seriously best friend in my whole life because he's made me the best person I could be, that I've allowed him to be. That allowed him to. He's the one that always makes me look better than I am. Thanks be to the Holy Spirit, so right now included. And so invoke the Holy Spirit and just say, like, Holy Spirit, come. Holy Spirit, help me with my patience right now. Holy Spirit, help me with my attitude right now. Help me with my desires right now. Whatever you want to say. But that works wonders for me. So, yeah, there you go.
So wait a minute. So that's so that's the Holy Spirit? I always just thought you were really good looking.
No, that's the looking part is some weird flesh. It's like weird. Like, you can thank my mom and my dad and my grandparents and their family and their grandparents, and then ultimately God, but not the Holy Spirit necessarily. for looks. Maybe, maybe maybe the Holy
Your
Spirit isn't.
countenance has a lot to do with the looks,
Yeah,
though.
and how I present myself. Yeah,
Mhm.
how my posture. Yeah,
Yeah.
I suppose that's the Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
Well, thank you. Now I have some eye
Mhm.
candy.
Yeah. That's right.
Uh,
It's not
you know
misplaced
what? You
affection
threw
if it's
me
the Holy
off, though.
Spirit.
You threw me off because you were like, if I have some kind of outburst, and I'm like, wait a second, Ryan having an outburst. What does that look like?
It looks like grr.
Yes. Rising Dawn, I do love what you're saying in here in the chat. Nothing can be achieved without failing first. My mom always said, experiment, fail, learn, repeat. You're going to learn and grow in every choice you make and every event that happens. Yep. And Darkwing, you've got a thing where there's one day you don't have any screens and you're slowly adding more days, so eventually rarely on your device anymore. See, that's
great.
taking it step by step, creating a habit. That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's the light grr and it's over. Yeah, that's I've never even seen you say grr.
My wife has seen me say grr
Ah.
in frustration to trying to solve a problem on the computer. I don't even remember what it was, but I'm just like grr.
And you probably did it all cute.
And that was it. And she was like, "Are you okay? Are you okay? You're really frustrated, aren't you? You're like freaking out inside." I'm like, "I'm okay. I'm okay. It's fine. It's not a big deal. I'll get over it.
Just had to go
I'll figure it out
grr
eventually."
for a second.
Yeah.
Yes, but Saule, a lot of this stuff. I mean, there's so much here. Ryan had a
did
bunch.
happen.
You hugged him big time when you heard the grr, the big grr.
The big grr, which sounds like the little grr.
Yeah, some of us grr more than others.
Maybe you need a girdle.
Girdle. Yes, I need a girdle.
That's right. Not to confuse with a turtle or an angry turtle.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes you can get mad at yourself and be like, why am I not more joyful? I should be more joyful.
That tone. That sounds helpful.
Right.
Oh my
It's
gosh.
kind of like counterproductive. Like,
Yeah.
like I need to develop more patience. I'm impatient about it. Like I need to be patient.
I need to be patient already. Why is it taking so long to become patient? Yeah. Just say bubbles angrily. That's good.
Bubbles. Bubbles.
It does. That's pretty hard to sound angry and say bubbles.
I feel silly.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's really good. It feels silly instead of angry. That's hilarious.
That's great. All right. Well, so thank you so much for the topic, and hopefully some of this has shed some light on the issue of
I hope
patience,
so.
and you totally can do it, and it's going to take time, and it's going to take failing, like Rising Dawn said. It's going to take some experimentation. It's going to take having those moments where you catch yourself being impatient.
Yeah.
And you're like, this is one of those moments, and it's a learning experience, and this is not see, those are moments where you have the opportunity to raise your blood pressure and be like, oh my gosh, it's happening, and then why am I not more patient? I should be more patient by now. And so you're treating your patience with more impatience, right? And so
yeah, I dislike that I'm impatient. Is basically the problem,
right? Yeah. Thank you for the topic, Saule. And I'm glad. And yeah, the chat was great. I'm telling you, you guys have some great insight. So I really appreciate you guys, a lot. So yeah. Thank you. I don't know if we have much time, and I don't think we have another topic that we can do right now, because everybody wants to be here for their topic, and
from
they're
young.
not here.
Yeah, that's true.
So you got something? Hey, you
Um,
guys want to talk about something in the
yeah.
chat?
Oh, we got a couple of topics. Whoa,
We
one,
did.
two, three.
We
We
did.
got three topics in.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, let's. Wow. All right.
We
Well,
got one. We got two anonymized and one from Ellie, who is here.
Ellie's got a
Um,
topic.
Ellie, would you like us to do yours?
Let's do Ellie's.
Um, do you want me to like? I don't even need to process it really. I just because you can read it.
I can read it.
Mm-hmm. I'll just create a topic summary.
Okay, perfect.
Um,
I can put it up on the screen. I can totally do that, and I will read it. Just let me know when you're ready, Ryan.
mm-hmm. Yeah, go ahead, read it.
You meant to say BSS in your subject, but ADHD brain realized too late after I
Yeah.
sent it. That's okay. 20 minutes for a topic. We can totally do it, man. We can totally do it. All right. Oh, and this is I like this. I just am looking it over now. Ellie, this is gonna be a good one. So all right, I'm gonna put it up on the screen. Ryan, are you ready? And then
Yep, I'm
and then
ready.
I can just I'll put up your summary after I'm done reading it or whatever.
Cool. It's
Um,
processed. It's well, it's yeah.
you
There
got
you
it.
go. Mm-hmm.
Perfect. All right. So this is from Ellie, and also known as Rising Dawn. Do you prefer that I call you Rising Dawn or Ellie, or does it matter? Um, so anyway, all right. Here's the topic. I see myself moving far with my little movie studio I'm making, but I'm struggling with moving forward past what I see now with my first short film. I don't know how to make a name for myself, like how BSS or Static P took off, and I don't know how to actually make my studio a company for tax write offs, if that makes sense. I know the foundation of any subject is the most important part, and I want to know what I can do now to help me move forward in my dream and passion. Do you have any tips? From Ellie. Ellie, this is a great topic. We could spend hours and hours and hours talking about this, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
But creating a business, how? That's what you put on there. that's
Yeah.
the that's the summary. Um, Perfect.
Yeah.
So Ellie has a film. You're producing movies, and you want to know how to make a business out of it. And you want to. I love how you said. I don't know how to make a name for myself, like how BSS or Static P took off. The interesting thing about BSS and Static P is it looks, I mean, yes, things took off when It's Not Like I Like You kind of released. But there were years of just creating content that went
Yeah.
largely unnoticed by the rest of the world. And
Mm-hmm.
even still, like when we look at where we are and where we want to be, we're still largely unnoticed by the rest of the world, and I kind of actually like that.
Yeah, there's a goodness to that that's important right now
Mhm.
for us.
Yep. And for Don't Worry Wednesday, for instance, like right now it says there's 6 people watching, and I love that. I love that it's an intimate. We never. It's kind of rare that we hit 20 people watching
Mm-hmm.
on any given stream. A lot of times it hovers around 12 to 15, something like that, and I like that because it's more intimate, it's more personal, it's more we can engage with you guys better, and I really really like that.
Mm-hmm.
So but how do you make money? How do you turn this into a business? Well, there are some things to do, and yeah, we might some of this. Oh, Neonsai, I love that. You don't need to make it big to make a living. That's absolutely true. You really just need to create content. And I don't think we had. You can go get a DBA. I don't know. Ellie, do you live in the United States by any chance?
Yeah, that's an
Or
important question. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they do, but it's an important question.
um, because tax laws change, depending on what country you're in.
And what state you're in.
And what state you're
But
into.
yes.
That's very true.
Yeah.
It's funny because BSS, we first incorporated as an LLC. It's a limited liability company or limited liability corporation, one of the two. It's either company or
Corporation, I believe.
corporation. But we
It's a
incorporated
corporation.
as that in 2014. Now, we had been in business together since 2010. And before that was Black Static Studios and Swerve Music Company, which was Ryan and I's respective, companies. And neither of us had formed a DBA. We just I remember just putting my name up on the wall, putting Swerve Music Company on a whiteboard on my wall, and I was like, that's my company, and it's just like in front of my face, right?
Yep.
And I think Ryan, you had made a Black Static Studios avatar thing for like your social medias and stuff like that. But really having it in your heart that, okay, I'm a business. I am a business. That's step one. Because then from there, it's like, all right, now you can still, just be an individual user of, an individual person making content and releasing that content on whatever platform it is, or selling your content to whoever it is, that will, will buy it or whatever. And you can still, even then, without a DBA, which is called doing business as, and it's like a legal thing. You can get a DBA usually at the county clerk's office for like $10 or something like that. And then you can call yourself, I'm guessing Rising Dawn Studios is the name of your company. And so then you would be able to set up, I believe with a DBA, then you can set up bank accounts and stuff like that in the name of your company. So then you can, have people write checks to your company name, and they would just go into your personal account or whatever.
If you want, it can be pretty easy for you. All you have to do is visit a bank that you want to be associated with, and you can talk to them and say, hey, I'd like to set up a business, and they'll immediately, well, not immediately, but they'll set up an appointment with you to basically create that DBA, then move it forward to an LLC or any kind of corporation, and they'll also maybe hook you up with lawyers or whatever that you need. If you want to go down that route, but you're going to need some money to put into the bank.
Right.
Or they won't do anything for you.
Those are things, right, exactly. Like, it's like, okay, now Ryan mentioned lawyers and stuff like that. A lot of these things cost money, and so sometimes when you're starting a business, you don't have any money. I remember we started BSS on the heels of a project that Ryan and I partnered on with our two companies, and we kind of used the money that we earned from that project to set up BSS. So I don't think BSS has ever been in the red.
No. Well, nope. It's never been in the red.
Any investment, like we never got an investor. It's always just been owners of the company putting in whatever we had. So we've never been in debt, basically. And we've never been backwards in our finances. But
it's actually pretty impressive.
Yeah, it is, because I look at Brotherhood Cabinets, like what we're starting now, and we're in this like 11 grand in the hole already, and there's all this.
Yeah.
Like, so it's wild, but businesses cost money. Now you're making movies, you're making film stuff. Okay, you got a movie studio, and that's exciting because you can just create stuff on your computer. You can release it, all those kinds of things. Yes, those initial expenses are costly. And Neonsci, I love this. The important thing first is to make something.
Yes, absolutely.
And so start making content. The reason Ryan and I went into business doing music together was because we were both creating music. We were both musicians that created music. Okay, more or less just at home and an iPhone till I get a Canon C70. Perfect. You know what?
Nice.
That's a great place to start. Great place to start. iPhones have good cameras.
They do.
Hmm. As much as I rail against Apple because I'm an Android user, um, I will give the iPhone that it has great cameras. They do put good cameras in those things. But yeah, so you start with what you have, and you start with where you're at, and then you start creating some content and you start releasing it. Now, whether that be TikToks or Instagram Reels or just YouTube Shorts, YouTube videos, whatever kind of content you're making, you just start putting it out. And that's what Ryan did before he was Static P. He was putting content out.
Mm-hmm.
And then started. What was the first Static P song that you did? Was it a collab?
It was kind of a collab. So, I mean, do you want me to just tell? Can I just tell a brief story,
Yeah,
or do you want to just
absolutely.
answer that?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I had a little channel called Tetsuken Z,
Mm-hmm.
and um, I posted on that. I worked really hard on it. I gave it 3 months where I didn't work any job except for doing that, and in the end, I didn't get very far with it. It didn't really go very far, but um, I was doing that kind of content and ended up meeting a fellow um, about a year after I had stopped making stuff, but I kept on making music. And I met a fellow, and he had this desire to like go out and make some like songs and stuff, and I was like, yeah, let's do it. So I buddied up with him. His name was Geen.
Mm-hmm.
Some of you know him. And then from there, um, he just reached out to like all sorts of people, and he was really good at it.
Mm-hmm.
Just reaching out to everybody. He never held back. He just like I'll message this guy, I'll message that guy, I message this person, this, and because of that, we became known through in the Utaite community, and more importantly, I became known as someone who can write songs. And so eventually someone came along and said, hey, can I have a song written? I said, yeah. And then another person said, can I have a song written? I said, sure. And then another person came along and said, hey, there's a person that's looking for a song composer. Would you be interested? And I said, sure, yeah. I mean, why not? And so then I looked into it, and the person had like 1 million subscribers.
Mm-hmm.
And then I wrote music for them for a little bit. Didn't get any recognition really from them, but it was my first 1,000 subs. So I ended up writing some songs for a animation series that they were doing, and that's actually an animation series my now wife was working on as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I wrote a couple of background music, and that's what I started on my channel with. And I just said, hey, in your videos, do you mind putting me down for the composer, and then give a link to this YouTube channel? And they did, and that became my first 1,000 or 2,000 subscribers. And then I ended up doing another collab because people started to know who I was. Another person reached out to me and they said, hey, would you be able to do this an opening for my anime? And I said, yeah, I'll do that. And so I did it, and then I got my first 10,000 subscribers.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, I didn't really need to collab all that much more if I didn't really want to. And I just was writing music for myself and for whoever wanted to enjoy it. And so my point is, that was my story, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's all of it adds up. All of it adds up. Even the stuff that I like spent like a couple of years on a specific channel. Actually, all those channels kind of closed down. Some of them don't even exist anymore. Some of the channels I worked on, not just me, I worked on with other people. I was collaborating with them, and those channels are just gone, deleted from YouTube. But it still added up to the moments where were especially impactful. And yeah, so uh, just create
Mm-hmm.
and interact with people.
Mm-hmm.
Create and interact with people.
Yes.
I mean, because really, it's a social It's like it's a social thing. It's a social world. Like, who are you selling to? People. Okay, then don't shy away from interacting with people. You know, talk with the people, because that's the people that it's people that are going to be watching your stuff,
Mm-hmm.
listening to your stuff,
Mm-hmm.
consuming your content. People. So deal with the people. Be good with them.
Yeah, I'm starting to realize that in the world of media that we're living in right now, in this very personal media world that we have,
Mm-hmm.
collaboration is really becoming the king.
Mm.
It is. Like, I mean, people are collaborating all the time, and yes,
Yeah.
that is very good advice, isn't it? It's so true. Like, create stuff and talk to people. Create stuff and interact with people. Create stuff and collaborate with people. Create stuff and find people that you can do something with them. My
Mm-hmm.
son and I in November we're going to a concert.
Mm.
We're going to see Baby Metal.
Oh, really? That's
Yes.
amazing. Wow, that's awesome. Where are they playing at?
Cincinnati.
Okay. Wow.
Um, yeah, we're going to Cincinnati in November. We're gonna watch Baby Metal. Here's the
Wow.
thing, Baby Metal. They've been around for a while. They've been around for more than a decade,
Mm-hmm.
right? And they're this kind of weird niche metal, J-pop, thing. It's
Novelty band.
yeah. But here's the thing: what they're doing, and they're doing this all the time now. And this has been their idea since the beginning too. It's like we want to play with other people. We just want to be able to play with these people. And they're just humbly, but they do their job so well and they do really good stuff and they're collaborating with huge names in the music industry. Like you just
Mm-hmm.
look at their list of releases. They're collaborated with their most recent one was with who some German group. Yeah, Baby Metal is fun. Who's it? Electric
Stein.
Callboy.
Okay.
Electric Callboy is
Hmm.
the band they just did, and both of them just exploded as a result of this collaboration.
Mm.
Which
Right.
was
Right.
really cool. They collaborated recently with Tom Morello. Who's Tom Morello? He was the guitarist from Rage Against the Machine way back when.
White horses. When I was down
Yeah,
to white horses.
exactly.
The white horses.
Yeah, no, it
Sorry.
wasn't. That's Zach De La Rocha that you're singing.
I know, but that's
but
but I
that's
know, but that's the guy. That's the band. I just no one knows the name of the band unless I say white horses over
right.
and over.
I know.
So
I
that's
know.
why.
But they did a collaboration with this guitar player, right? And they've done collaborations with all kinds of people. You just kind of go down the list on their Spotify and you see featuring so and so, featuring so and so, featuring so and so, or
Mm.
whatever with so and so, and like all these collaborations. And
Yeah.
that's really like I see how the music industry is just doing that, and I'm sure it's happening also with video, with all kinds of stuff. You find people that you can work with, and here's the thing: so you're starting off doing stuff, creating stuff, and all that kind of stuff. All the rest of this stuff can happen as you grow, but put on your radar screen, find a numbers person.
Mm. Yeah.
I will say probably the absolute linchpin of BSS being a solvent company is Ryan's brother, Kyle.
Mm-hmm.
He's a math guy.
He loves it.
He loves numbers. And he can look at things with complete logic, get the emotion out of that. Because when you start making money, you get excited and the emotion starts to take over. And you're like, I have this money so I can have stuff and I can do this and I can do that and all this kind of stuff. Ryan's brother, Kyle, he'll see this money rolling in and he'll just be like, okay, he'll set it down and he'll just be like, okay, in order to move forward, we need to do this, 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 this. Okay. So, and then he'll research stuff, right? But that cool headed, logic based monitoring of the numbers, solid bookkeeping That type of financial organization is what you will need as the money starts to roll in. A lot of times artists can get kind of emotional about that kind of stuff, or don't care about it, or whatever, right? And so then it just kind of, you don't have that, you don't end up moving forward as quickly or as solidly without somebody monitoring the numbers. Does that make sense? But that's not something you necessarily need to worry about getting right now. That's just as things start to grow and money starts to roll in and all that kind of stuff. Right now, the focus is create stuff, talk to people, just like Ryan said. That will move you forward. And then in all these people you're talking to, find a numbers person that you can trust. Oh my gosh. That's hard.
Yeah.
That's
I was just saying someone who's virtuous, but good luck.
That's true. Yep. And maybe, who knows? Maybe you can collaborate with us.
Yeah.
I said before we're severely understaffed, and we are, and part of the reason is because we don't have we're solid, we're in the black, but part of the reason we're in the black is because we're not hiring people.
That's right. Because we can't afford to, so we know that too.
Because we can't afford to hire people.
Yeah.
But we're stable.
Yeah.
That's okay. You'll do it for free? Hey, you know what? That's cool. It's crazy because, a lot of times I've been the guy that's kind of managed a lot of that kind of stuff, and all that's kind of fallen off the table because we had to start this cabinet company.
Yeah.
So my focus got pretty pretty distracted. Well,
Yeah.
but it was necessary, and
that's okay.
It all plays into the long-term goal of bringing BSS to the forefront. All the owners of Brotherhood Cabinets and Woodworking are owners of BSS as well, and our goal is for BSS to succeed. And we recognize that the Brotherhood Cabinets is a way to get money quicker, because here's the thing about media, making money in releasing media, it's passive income. Most of the time, it's set up as passive income streams, which means you do the work once, and then money comes as a long term, money comes for a long time, monthly income, right? But it's small increments, and it takes a while to build up. Sometimes when your needs for just living are, I need money now, you got to find something to do, right? So you can sing, dance, and all that jazz. I like it. But here's the thing. So just start making stuff. Start making stuff. And start putting it out. Put it out on YouTube. Don't worry about whether or not it's good enough. Because I'll tell you what, if you're like me, it'll never be good enough. So at some point, you just got to put it out because it just is. Don't expect to perform well. Numbers, what? Yes, absolutely. Oh, you're partially teaming up with Static P already with the song Nightmares.
Yeah, they're doing a cover of it.
Oh, sweet.
I'm excited to hear it when they release it.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Yep. And what Neonsai said is absolutely true. When you're starting, don't expect to, it's not.
I think it's not just a cover either, because they're going to, in cinematic format. Yeah, they might do. Are you gonna rearrange it? Are you gonna arrange it and make it kind of your own? I think you said something like that.
That's great. I'm excited to see it. Sweet. But yeah, as far as to take what you want to do and create a business, if you wanted to set all these things into place right now, as far as starting a company, whether it's a DBA or an LLC or a S corp or whatever the heck, that's probably just going to cost you money that you don't have, and it's not necessary right now. Yes, I hit the nail on the head. Create stuff. Ryan hit the nail on the head. Create stuff, talk to people. That's really it. At this stage in what you're doing, do that. And here's the other thing about it. Keep loving it. If you do it because you love it, especially in the arts like this, when you do it because you love it, it comes out beautiful. And it's fun and it's enjoyable, and you're not worried about the numbers. You're not worried about all that other kind of stuff. You're just creating stuff, and it shows in your workmanship and in the beauty of what you create. When you lose sight of the joy of creating the art and start focusing on the numbers and your subscribers and all this kind of stuff, and you start focusing on all that kind of stuff, it's not as fun anymore. You get worn out, you get burned out, and you struggle. It's a lot more challenging, but that challenge is just, it's not even a real challenge. It's just a perceived challenge that you're making up in your mind because of where your head's at. If you can stay focused on your art and creating and loving it and doing that, it will show in your production quality and keep improving and all that kind of stuff. And what'll happen is opportunities will come out. You'll start to learn to recognize an opportunity as it comes your way. And then you can start figuring out, okay, now I can capitalize on this. And probably my biggest piece of advice is, if you start to hear people saying you can't do it, or you shouldn't do it, or whatever, they're wrong. They're wrong. Because you can. You can do it. Now, you might have to work a job somewhere to make some money to support yourself while you do this thing that you love. But it really comes in one step at a time. And the step that you're at right now, which is just continue to create, continue to talk to people, all that kind of stuff, that is key for you right now. And it'll grow, and you can take the next step when you're ready. Oh, yes, Nyansai, you're right. You start appeasing the public, which is bad content.
Yeah. I wrote something an incredibly long time ago when I first started Static P. And it's still my Twitter post that's at the top, I think. My pinned Twitter post, I think. And it's something like, don't exploit your creations to appease. I don't know what the word is, but I'm sure I'm going to use that word because that's what it was. Don't exploit your content to appease the culture. Exploit the culture to your content. In other words, make your content good. Whether people enjoy it or not, eventually some people will, and they'll be better for it. If you start making stuff that's bad for the culture because the culture likes it, I mean, you might make money, but you're not doing anything important. You're just running.
Right.
And then you end up going down a rabbit hole that's like, there's no victories.
Yeah. You end up, like just playing into people's vices.
Yeah.
You end up becoming like mainstream media, like the news media, where they're like, if it bleeds, it leads. You got to do stuff that
Yeah.
grabs people's attention and all that kind of stuff. You start playing and pandering to the crowd and the mob and all that
Hmm.
kind of stuff. And then you start showing your butt on screen and, all this kind of stuff, like you don't need
Yeah.
to do that. Yep. You don't need to appease the public. You need to create what you want to create. I'm excited to hear you want to bring back good acting and passion in cinematic format. I want to show movies that have fun, entertainment, stories, and character growth. I love that idea. I mean, geez, look at Detective Detective. Fun, entertainment, stories, and character growth. That's all in. That's dude. That's all in. Criminal Idol.
Yeah. Here was what I wrote. I said, "Don't change your creations to exploit the culture. Exploit your creations to change the culture."
Mm.
Because it's more important to have a good culture in this world than it is to have money for yourself in a culture amongst a culture that's all trying to kill you. Like. So, yeah.
Right, because then you'll get focused on angles. You'll get focused on how can we angle this to be whatever, blah 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 blah. And you don't need to do that. It's just a matter of, creating what you believe to be good.
Detective.
Do what you love, not what others want.
Yeah.
Because honestly, people don't know what they want anyway, or they want what's not good for them. I'll tell you, a lot of times I want what's not good for me.
No.
I do.
Ah.
I want a pan full of brownies. That's not good for me.
I think that's good for you. I think that's really good for you. You're gonna eat them like slowly, right? Like over several days.
What?
Yeah, okay. No, never mind. That's not good for you,
Did
Joe.
you remember? Do you remember?
Don't eat a
Do
whole
you
pan of brownies.
remember?
I remember all the times we've eaten together.
This was
you eat everything.
Dude, clean your plate is something I always heard as a kid, right?
Yeah. I clean my plate too, but I don't clean other people's plates.
And then you all showed up to that house in Midland, where we were staying when you guys got married. You showed up with that half a pan of brownies, and they were gone the next day.
That's true.
That pan was empty.
Brownies filled with squeezed cheese. Oh
I shared them. A few.
At least 10%.
Looping back to self-control.
Yeah. Hey, Anglios.
Welcome. Hey, it was a celebration.
Yeah, it was. That's true. It was a wedding.
You can let loose. You want me to celebrate on your wedding day, right?
Yeah, I do. I want you to eat a lot of brownies on my wedding day.
Yeah.
Of course, to me, it's like of no concern to me because it's your health that you have to worry about. But I guess it is a concern to me because I'm your friend and I care about you, and also I don't want bad for you. But regardless,
one pan full of brownies isn't gonna do that much.
Yeah.
One time, I don't eat like that every day.
Only because you don't have pans of brownies.
Well, I can't bake, which is probably advantageous for me.
That's right. Oh my gosh. Now I know why some people can't cook. Because if they could. Oh man.
Mianglios, you've been at social events at university. You moved in yesterday. Congratulations.
Wow,
that's great.
That's awesome.
Congratulations on that new journey, that new adventure. I hope it's fun.
How do you eat a whole cheesecake in 2 days? I don't know. Oh man. Oh, cheesecake is so good, but it's like rich. It's like I can't eating more than one piece is hard. It's like wow. That's incredible. That's a talent.
Cheesecake is gross, in my personal opinion.
You can have your personal opinion. I enjoy it.
I am entitled
or
to
don't
my
enjoy it
personal
actually
opinion.
because that's what you're doing. You're not enjoying it.
I'll enjoy my opinion.
Okay, that's true. You can do that. That's true. You really can do that. You can enjoy your own opinion.
I don't enjoy all my opinions, but I enjoy that opinion of staying away from cheesecake.
Darkwing, that sounds incredible. A Boston
Boston
cream pie
cream.
cheesecake. I love Boston
You know, I
cream.
like Boston cream pie yogurt. I don't even really like
That
yogurt,
sounds great. Sounds great.
but the Boston cream pie yogurt is pretty good.
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
Yeah.
I'd eat that.
Well, Ellie, you can do it.
Mm-hmm.
Posting the recipe for Alfredo pasta and sharing. Enjoy. Thank you very much.
Awesome.
I will give it a shot at some point.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I appreciate what you said in the chat. You're tearing up over there. It's amazing. You really appreciate the amount of effort and energy we're putting into you. We're glad to do it.
Yeah.
And partly
Yeah.
because, you know, the world needs us to chase our dreams. The world needs us to become who we're supposed to be. And a lot of times,
Yes.
the world all around us will try to snuff us out. But if you're built to do something like this, you said this is a dream you've had since you were 3. I mean, that's a very, very well established dream in your heart and mind if it's been there for that long. Now, well, maybe you're 4, so it's been there for. I know you're not 4.
I think you're 22. If I remember reading chat correctly.
Oh yeah, that's right. You said you were 22, so that's 19 years.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
All right. You
That's
can.
awesome.
You can. And it takes
Mm-hmm.
steps. And it's amazing because, like, all these little things that you're going to do along the way, people, when you finally make it, people will think you're an overnight success.
Yeah, that's true. Yep.
But they didn't see all the little steps you took along the way. And it really comes down to, like we talked about in Saule's topic, of creating habits. Creating the habit of turning on your camera and filming something. Creating that, which isn't a hard step to take. You know, a lot of times we think about, oh, I got to produce this thing and put it out, and it becomes this big daunting thing. Well, really, all you got to do is turn on your phone and film yourself doing something or film something,
Mm-hmm.
and then share it. These aren't hard tasks. But then you create the habit of doing it. And part of it is also creating the habit of being okay with something not being perfect when you release it. Right?
Yeah.
You just got to put it out. And I'm giving myself this advice too, because that's probably my biggest hang up is perfectionism.
Mm-hmm.
Ryan knowingly nods his head. He's been working with me for a long time.
I was agreeing that it's important information for all of us to hear.
But absolutely. And so start to create those habits of creating stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then of releasing it, putting it into the world.
Yes.
Those habits, those little habits, then it just becomes second nature, and then you can ride on those habits without even really consciously thinking about it. It'll just be something that you do every day. And then it becomes your life. It becomes a lifestyle. And out of that lifestyle, then, that's where then you can start to have the money rolling in where you need to have business systems in place to handle all of it.
Yeah.
Right? But right now, it's just about creating it.
Yeah.
Yeah. ADHD does not like imperfections. Oh my gosh, really? I didn't know
you
that.
hyper focus.
Oh, that okay. Makes
Mm-hmm.
sense. Makes sense. All right. Well, cool. Well, and feel free to come back. If you ever start to not believe in yourself, feel free to come back. We'll help you believe in yourself again.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But awesome. All right, it's 20 after 10.
Mm-hmm.
We probably ought
Thank
to
you
wrap
guys,
this
and thank
thing
you,
up.
Joe. You did great. Really appreciated
Oh,
all the good words.
me?
Awesome.
I did see
Yeah.
August. August called me poetic.
Yeah. I
August, thank
agree.
you. I really appreciate that. I do. I just opened my mouth and talk. I wasn't trying to be poetic, but appreciate that. Um, but
Yeah.
thank you guys. Thank you guys for being here on Don't Worry Wednesday. Thank you for your topics. If you have topics to share with us, you go to don'tworrywednesday.com, click the submit a
Yeah.
topic button, and put the topic in there. We will be back next week. It'll be a while before I miss another one of these now.
That's
So
great.
yeah, I'm excited, to be back in the saddle on a weekly basis, and
Mm-hmm. I'm excited for that too.
I love spending this time with you guys. It's great, and we'll see how big
Yeah.
my beard can get before I shave it off. Maybe
Whoa.
you think I could get a ZZ Top beard?
I don't know if your face would allow it, but if it would, then yes, I think you could. I mean,
Actually, that
yes.
would take a lot of work.
Oh man.
That's a lot of grooming, I think, to get it to be like
Yeah.
that. It's a lot of.
I think at some point you get like I don't know if frustrated is the right word, but you kind of just like don't like it enough to be like, I'm shaving it.
Mhm.
It's going off, you know,
Yeah.
and you eventually do it. Yeah, beard wax.
Beard wax. Yep. That's
Yeah,
very true. Different
beard oil, beard
there's
wax.
this whole like
Yes,
setup
beard
of
care.
beard care stuff, right?
Yeah,
Like yeah.
yep.
But I don't know. At this point it's just basically laziness
Yeah.
and being overworked, and like
Uh-huh.
I usually just like shave my head and my face when I was in the shower, and I was just like, I'm in the shower and I don't have time. I've got to just take my shower and get out, like
Mm-hmm.
so but anyway, shave it in his sleep. I'll shave it while I drive. Actually, no, that's a bad idea. I won't do that.
My brother used to do that, but it was an electric shaver.
Oh, that's not so bad.
But he used to do it every day in his car, and I was like, dude, so many little hairs in your car that is your beard. Little specks every. My gosh, gross, dude.
Yep.
Shave in the bathroom.
Yep. Well, he's growing his a little bit too now. It's kind of
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Maybe it's this whole cabinet company thing. Maybe we're just
Yeah,
like,
well, you guys
we're
call
being
it a
we're being
brotherhood.
woodworkers. Yes, that's right.
Yeah. I mean, you ever seen Saint Joseph? They sculpt him with a beard. So
That's true. And how many
Mhm.
how many people who do woodworking do you know that are clean shaven?
0.
Something about it, maybe. I don't
Yeah.
know.
The beard helps you do the job good.
Yeah, I mean, you can get sawdust in it and stuff. It's great.
That's what it's for. It's for protecting your chin from sawdust,
That's right.
because that's needed.
Wait, you know one? You know one?
One.
Hey, all right, cool. At least there's one. Takes all kinds. But all right, you
Yeah.
guys, have a wonderful, wonderful night and a wonderful week. We'll see you next week here on Don't Worry Wednesday. Thank you again for hanging out with us. All your wonderful words in the chat. You guys are so great. We love you, and we will see you next time on Don't Worry Wednesday. Until then, we love you, and have a great and
Yes.
wonderful week. We'll see you later, guys.
Hi, guys. Blessings.
Bye.
Peace.